Hello students, welcome to the Pole Science of 11 Arts, and today we will continue with the topic looking after the implementation of DPSPs. What are the implementations done? In the previous class we read that 5 implementations were done through the DPSPs, starting from Land Reform Acts, banking policy, minimum wages, then welfare schemes and nuclear disarmament. So today we will read out the next 4 implementation that were done through DPSPs. Clear? So number 6 implementation was the introduction of Panchayati Raj. That means the local level of government was introduced, according to which earlier it was like 2 spheres of government, the central and the state government. After the introduction of Panchayati Raj, there became the third tier of government, that was known as local level of government, under which the decentralization of powers were done. That means the powers were transferred from the highest authority, that means the central government, to the lowest authority, that is the local self-government, under which the municipalities were set for the towns, whereas the village panchayat was set up for the village level. In this way the Panchayati Raj was introduced. After that, the 7th point that was implemented was the Equal Remuneration Act of 1976. Clear? This means the remuneration category for all the working class will be treated as equal or will be made equal under different departments. Suppose it will be equal for grade 1 post, equal payment will be there for all the grade 1 posts, then equal remuneration or wages will be there fixed for the second stage officers, then likewise it will be applicable for all the third grade officers. So it will be fixed under the Equal Remuneration Act of 1976. After that comes the Consumer Protection Act of 1986, which was implemented. It is a very important act because consumers are we the people. So in order to make us protected, that we are not cheated as the consumer, being the citizen or being the purchaser or buyer of any consumer goods or any other things, so that we cannot be cheated, for our protection the Consumer Protection Act of 1986 was formed, and we can complain about any product that we used. If we are cheated, we can give a case in the consumer court, and that can be done, and that has been successful only due to the introduction of Consumer Protection Act of 1986. After that, the 86th Constitutional Amendment of 2002 inserted a new article, Article 21A, and one more article was introduced newly, that was Article 21A, and that was introduced in the year 2002 through the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2002. Because it was this 86th Amendment Act of 2002 was in the year 2002 itself, that's why the introduction date will also be the same, that is 2002, and it introduced or it inserted a new article, that was Article 21A, which we will read elaborately in the following or in the next topics. Then amendments to DPSPs. Amendments means changes. How an amendment requires the approvals of two-thirds of the members present and voting. That means whatever the amendments, you can see here that the last point, that the 86th Constitutional Amendment of 2002 inserted a new Article 21A. So how was it done? How can a constitution be amended? In order to amend a constitution, it requires the approval of 2/3. That means every 2 persons out of 3. Then you calculate the number of people, that means every 2/3 majority is required to pass or make a change in the amendments. And after that, calculating the voting, if they found that okay, this law or this amendment is passed by 2/3 majority, then that particular law or the regulations can be implemented and amendment can be done. Now moving on to the major amendments, that is Article 31C inserted into Directive Principles of State Policy by the 25th Amendment Act of 1971 seeks to upgrade the DPSPs. And one most important article that was amended in the 25th Amendment Act of 1971, that means that was introduced in the year 1971, and that was the 25th number of Amendment Act, and that seeks what? That seeks to make the DPSPs more powerful and more upgraded. That means the Directive Principles of State Policy that was before 1971, now after the 25th Amendment Act of 1971, will be more updated and will be more flexible. So this, which made it possible, the Article 31C made it possible that through the 25th Amendment Act of 1971 that it will upgrade the DPSPs. That means DPSPs will be changed after the 1971, it will be upgraded. After that, Article 48A, which ensures protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife, was added by the 42nd Amendment Act. So if you remember, we had read about Article 48A. Under Article 48A, it was written the protection and improvement of wildlife, improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife. This was implemented in the year 1976, and this was implemented, that means Article 48A was included through the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, under which the protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife was introduced. So before 1976, this Article 48A was not there. Remember this. Article 45, which ensures provisions for free and compulsory education for children, was added by the 86th Amendment Act 2002. And as we have discussed already about this, that means compulsory and free education from the age group of boys or girls, irrespective of male or female, they will be given free and compulsory education from the age group 6 years to 14 years. And that has been done through the 86th Amendment Act of 2002. And this 86th Amendment Act of 2002, which brought provisions for free compulsory education for children, was done under Article 45. Remember this. So in fact, it is the duty of the state to be kept in mind of DPSPs while framing laws and policies to establish a just society in the country. So it is the duty of a state means what? It is the duty of a state following the government. The following government, whosoever government is there who is ruling the country, they should always keep in mind about the citizens, that irrespective of different religions are living in this country. So keeping in mind of all the castes and religions and languages, after that only all the laws and policies should be framed so that it can be justified. That means it can give equal importance to every religion living in the country. So while framing laws and policies, it is to keep in mind just that it can establish a just society in the country. And just society means a kind society can be established. And when a kind society can be established, when there will be equality among the people of every religion. And while framing laws and policies, when the government will look after every religion, be it Hindus, Muslim, Christians or Sikhs, when that will be followed, so we can tell that it can or it will be successful in establishing a just society in the country. So conclusion will be like, DPSPs are, if we want to conclude the directive principles of state policies as a whole, then we can write number 1 point, that it is non-justiciable rights of the people Then regarding the definition of DPSP, it is a guideline to the central and state government of India. Guidelines means rules and regulations under which or according to which the central and state government will rule the country. They will not have unlimited powers. They will have limited powers, and that limited powers will be given by the constitution, not enforceable by any court. So these directive principles of state policies cannot be enforced by any court, that is above any medium. After that, considered fundamental in the governance of the country. That means fundamental basic rules should be followed by governing the country, or when the government is governing the country, then fundamental basic rules should be kept in mind. And it is the duty of state to apply these principles in making laws to establish a just society in the country. So a little while earlier we read about this point that while framing laws and policies, the government should always keep in mind thinking about all the people living in India, be it Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, etc. When they will look and think after all the people irrespective of their religion and language, and when they will frame policies and laws keeping in mind of the people, different people living in India, then we can tell that they can establish a just society in the country. Clear? So I hope that whatever the points we have studied regarding the DPSP, that is Directive Principle of State Policy, is now clear to you. So today we have come to the end of the lengthiest topic, that is the Directive Principle of State Policy. In today's topic we read about the other 4 implementation that was done by the DPSP, starting from Panchayati Raj, the Equal Remuneration Act of 1976, then the most important Consumer Protection Act of 1986, and inclusion of Article 21A through 86th Amendment Act of 2002. Then after that we have read about 2 important amendments that was done under DPSPs. Firstly, 31C, under which DPSPs was upgraded, and under Article 48A was added, included, which ensured protection of improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife. That was done through the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, and Article 48A was included. After that we also read about Article 45, which was done through the 86th Amendment Act of 2002, which ensured compulsory and free education for children irrespective of their sex, that is male or female, from the age group 6 to 14 years. And in the concluding part we have concluded mentioning the points like DPSPs are non-justiciable. It is the guideline to central and state government to run the country. It is not enforceable by any court. It should consider fundamental in the or basic rules in the governance of the country. And lastly, it is the duty of state to apply these principles in making laws to establish a just society. So I hope that whatever the points we have read today and earlier regarding the topic DPSP is now clear to you. So with that I will wind up today's topic. Thank you.